Okay, so we're through with route of administration. So depending on whether you administer it oral, parenteral, no, usually the effect will be different. No, so if you give it oral, although it's the safest, it's also the slowest, and usually it requires higher dosage, and then you have other disadvantages ng advantage and oral ng or advantage and disadvantage ng oral, no. um in terms of uniformity, in terms of yung rapidity, mas maganda ang IV, yun lang, it usually produces more adverse effect, no? Okay, so another factor which can affect the if can affect how the drug produces its effect is the passage across body membrane. So for all, once the drug is inside the body, usually it exists in the solution form. Diba? When you say solution has two parts. You have the solute or the solid, no? And usually it refers to the drug molecule. And then you have the solution or the solvent, which refers to the body fluid. So once the drug is inside the body, it usually exists, or it changes into a solution. And whether once the drug molecule is in the body, it has to pass through different types of body membrane para makapunta siya from to the target tissue. Has to pass through body membranes, no? So how easy or difficult it is for the drug to reach the target organ depends on how easy or difficult it is for the drug molecule to pass through the different membranes, no? In all of the processes that the drug undergo, once it is inside the body, it has to pass through body membranes. And body membranes can be classified into three types. You have the cell membrane, intracellular, and you have the blood capillaries, no? So I think you know naman the difference between this, no? And the process is the same. So how drug passes through the cell membrane, the intracellular and blood capillaries has the same process. Pareho lang naman sila. Whether it's the cell membrane, intracellular, blood capillaries, the mechanics or the mechanism is basically the same, no? Body membranes are made up of two important components, no? It's made up of 50 to 60% protein, and it's made up of 40% phospholipid. Phospholipid, it's the form of lipid nga siya, so it's fat, no? Ang body membrane daw kasi is ang tawag dito, two layer. Now, the first layer is the water layer, and then you have two fat layer, and then you have your another water layer. So the type of fat found in the body membrane is made up of phospholipid. And the importance is that the phospholipid layer in the body membrane only allows molecule to pass through the body membrane if it is fat soluble. Hindi dadaan ang drug molecule. Kasi sabi ko nga, di ba, once the drug is inside the body, it exists in a solution form, no? So meron kang drug molecule. And if the drug molecule is not fat soluble, it cannot pass through the body membrane because of the phospholipid layer. It's fat. For a molecule to be able to go inside the body membrane of the cell, intracellular, or capillaries, it has to be dissolved in the fat layer. Okay? And kaya nga ang phospholipid makes the membrane impassable, hindi makadaan if the drug molecule is not fat soluble. Okay? Yung protein, the 50 to 60 protein. These are large molecules which extends from the outside into the inside of the cell membrane. And the protein membrane, they call them they call them the molecule, no, attaches it attaches to the protein molecules, the large protein molecule that extends from the outside into the inside. And the large protein molecules actually releases the molecules, the drug molecule, in the inside of the membrane. Okay? So, kasi, di ba, for a molecule to be able to pass through the inside of the membrane, kailangan fat-soluble siya. So, if the molecule is not fat-soluble, cannot go inside. So, how do they go inside? It's through the large protein molecules, which has the ability to get attached to the molecule, and the protein molecules that extends from the inside to the outside releases the molecule into or in the inside of the into the inside of the cell, no? So yun yung importance ng component, no? The phospholipid makes it impermeable or impossible to molecules which are not fat soluble. And the protein molecules actually is the one which where the molecules, drug molecules, get attached to and is released into the inside of the cell or inside of the cell. Okay. So there are some physiochemical factors that would influence passage. Okay. So sabi ko nga kanina, what I mentioned earlier, now if the molecules passes through the body membrane fast, the procedure becomes fast or the process becomes fast. If the molecules finds it difficult to pass through body membranes, mas mahirap din o mas matagal din, nadidelay din yung processes, no? And how fast or easy depends on three physiochemical properties. One is the lipid solubility. The more lipid soluble the drug, syempre, mas madali, it's easier to get dissolved in the fat layer, the easier or the faster the process. So, mabilis siya makakadaan, no? Kasi lipid soluble siya. So, kung kunyari, no, like for example, if there is a flood, di ba, sa Fatima, no? Kung marunong kang lumangoy o okay ka lang lumangoy sa or okay ka lang lumangoy sa flood, di ba? It's very easy, eh. Di ba? Just jump into the water and then go into the other side, di ba? Kung hindi ka marunong lumangoy and mataas yung tubig, of course, no, you will not risk. So, mas mahihirapan ka. So, ganun din yan sa drug molecule. If the drug is lipid soluble, the easier for the molecules to pass through the body membrane. Another factor is the molecular size and shape. Alam, di ba, syempre, mas maliit. No? Mas maliit ang molecule, mas mabilis siyang ma-dissolve. So, mas mabilis siyang, if it's dissolved faster, the faster it can traverse into the body membrane or the cell membrane. And the last factor is the degree of ionization. No? And what is measured, once the drug exists in solution, it always exists in two forms. So, in the drug molecule, when it comes to drug passage, the drug molecule or the solute, no? Nadidissolve siya into the solvent, which is the body fluid. Okay? So, drugs, once it is inside the solution, molecules always exist in two forms. Palaging balance, di ba? Palaging hemostasis, no? So, they always exist in ions and non-ions. By the way, anong difference ng ions and non-ions? When do you call a molecule ions? When is the molecule non-ions? Anong characteristic ng molecules which differentiate the two? Paano mo nasasabing ions or non-ions? Kapag ions, you remember? Pag ions, ang molecule may charge, di ba? Pag ions usually may charge siya, either cation or non-ion. If the molecule is non-ionized, wala siyang charge. And drugs, once in solution, always exists. No? Ions and non-ions. Hindi pwedeng puro ions, hindi pwedeng puro non-ions. They always exist para may balance, para may hemostasis. So, what is measured by the degree of ionization is the amount of ions in the solution. For a molecule to be ionized, may charges siya. May positive, negative, di ba? Kapag non-ionized ang molecule, wala siyang charge. Okay. Another difference between ions and non-ionized molecule. Ionized molecules are usually water, but not fat soluble. It is the non-ionized molecule which is both water and fat soluble. And if you remember, no, cell membrane has fat layer. If the molecule is ionized, water soluble lang siya. Hindi siya it cannot pass through the body membrane because it will not be allowed by the phospholipid to go inside. So for ionized molecules, since they are not fat soluble, they usually use yung protein molecules to be able to go inside the membrane. Hindi sila matutunaw sa fat layer. So hindi sila makapasok. You follow? Since the non-ionized molecules are both water and fat soluble, so no problem for the molecules. Now, you get me? Clear ako? Hello? Before
Yes,
I proceed, okay. Bago ako mag-proceed, clear? Okay. So if a molecule is ions, since they are not fat soluble, they cannot pass through body membrane. Difficult for them, no? Whereas if they usually require carrier. Parang ano din yan eh. Kung hindi ka makaswim sa water kasi you do not know how to swim, anong hinahanap mo? Naghahanap ka ng tulay, di ba? Naghahanap ka ng boat which will carry you from one side to the other side. Since non-ionized molecules are not fat soluble, they look for carriers to help them get transported across the body membrane. And that is the function of the large protein molecules. Kaya may protein molecules. They act as carrier para yung mga hindi makapasok sa loob, they use as carrier to be able to get transported across the body membrane. What is measured by the degree of ions or degree of ionization is the amount of ions in the solution. So kung ang sabi is 50% is the degree of ionization, that means 50-50. 50% of the molecule is ions, 50% is non-ions. Okay? So 50% lang ang absorption. So only the 50% non-ions can pass through. So what will happen to the other 50% na ions? They have to look for carriers to be able to go inside. Okay? Clear tayo doon, no? And degree of ionization depends on two factors, pH and pKa. So in a solution, pH is a characteristic of the body fluid. It's the characteristic of the solvent, the liquid. Siya ang may body fluid. Siya ang may pH. And pH, di ba, is the degree of the measurement ng acidity of a solution. The neutral pH is 7. Higher than 7 is basic. Lower than 7 is acidic. Okay? Ang merong characteristic, pH is the characteristic of the body fluid where the drug molecule will dissolve. pH is variable. It can be changed. So if kunyari a clinician wants the drug to be absorbed more or absorbed less, what can be changed is the pH. You either change it to become more acidic or more basic, depending on how you want passage to be affected. pKa is the characteristic of the drug molecule. Ang may pKa, now pKa is the dissociation constant. It's a constant. You cannot change pKa. And it's the drug molecule which has the pKa. Okay? So these are the two factors which will affect the degree of ionization, and degree of ionization measures the amount of ions in the solution. Okay. Drugs are classified either as weak acid or weak base. Dalawa lang naman daw ang gamot. They're either weak acid or a weak base. And the relationship ng pH to the drug molecule. If the drug is classified as an acid, it's a weak acid, pH is directly proportional to the degree of ionization. If pH is increased, degree of ionization also increases. Mag-i-increase din ang degree ng ionization. So, mas maraming ions. Okay? If the drug is a weak base, pH is inversely proportional, baliktad. If a drug which is a weak base, if the pH is increased, the degree of ionization decreases. Okay? Now, to summarize, if a drug is a weak acid, drugs which are weak acid are better absorbed. The absorption is better if the pH is low. Mas mababa ang pH pag acid ang gamot. Mas mababa ang pH. Mas mababa ang degree ng ionization. That means mas maraming non-ions. You follow? So mas maganda ang rate ng absorption. Kasi mas maganda, mas mabilis ang passage if the molecules are non-ionized because they are both water and fat soluble. If a drug is a weak base siya, mas maganda ang rate ng absorption of the drug if the pH is low. If it's a weak base, mas maganda siya kung high siya. Kung base siya, kasi inversely ang base. Mas mataas ang pH if a drug is a weak base. Mas mataas ang pH, mas mababa ang degree of ionization. So, mas maraming non-ions. Okay? And changing the pH, why is it important? No? Kasi sometimes, di ba, you can change the rate of absorption depending on the pH. Like for example, di ba, we know that local anesthetics is not, hindi maganda, di ba, ang effect ng local anesthesia kapag may inflame ang tissue. So, di ba, sinasabi nyo yan sa patient nyo hindi masyadong magiging effective yung anesthesia mo kapag may maga. No, there's inflammation and we don't normally inject on a tissue which is inflamed because the local anesthesia becomes less effective. Okay. If a patient asks you, Doc, why? Bakit? Can you explain? Bakit hindi maganda o hindi advisable na nag-i-inject in an inflamed tissue? Hindi nagiging effective ang local anesthesia. Totoo ba 'yon? Is it true? Yes, is it true? Totoo ba na hindi maganda ang absorption o hindi maganda, it's less effective. Local anesthesia becomes less effective if there is inflammation. Is it true? Anybody?
Yes po.
Yes, why?
Acidic po area.
Sorry? So let's say a patient asks you, ay, ganun po ba? Bakit? Why? What's the
Acidic po
explanation?
yung
Because
area.
of? Sino to? Hello? Bakit po? Yes, it's true, di ba? Totoo yun. And what is the possible cause for that? It's because of the change in pH, di ba? Local anesthesia is basic. And since basic siya, gusto mo to be injected in a high pH. Kasi kung high ang pH niya, mas mababa ang degree of ionization. So there will be more non-ions. So there will be more absorption ng anesthetic solution, anesthetic molecules. Diba? Normal pH in a normal tissue pH is 6-7. So mataas ang pH. So mababa ang base yung anesthesia mo, basic weak base, taas ang pH ng normal body fluid. When you inject, mababa ang degree of ionization because it's inversely proportional. So more molecules will be transformed into non-ions. So mas marami ang rate ng absorption. Inflammation causes acidity, di ba? So it makes the pH lower. So if you lower the pH, you increase the degree of ionization. So mas konti ang non-ions, less ang absorption. Why is methanoic acid or tawag dito, like aspirin? Aspirin is acetyl salicylic acid. It's an acid. Usually it's given oral. Because acid yung gamot, even methanoic acid actually, acid yung gamot, you give it orally, and the pH of the oral or the gastric juices is mababa. Mababa acid, directly proportional, mababa ang pH, mababa ang degree of ionization. Mas madaming non-ions, so mas marami ang rate ng absorption. You follow? That's how the change in pH actually changes yung absorption. Kaya siguro, I don't know, I've not really had time to check. Di ba sinasabi nila kapag na-poison ka ata, no? You know, di ba pag may mga naka-accidentally drunk poison, ang unang tanong sa'yo ng doctor, anong ininom? Anong ininom? Kasi how they manage depends on the drug that was taken in. Iba-iba ang management depending on the drug. Hindi lahat ng gamot na iniinom pinasusuka. Lalo na if it's an acid. Kasi if it's an acid, tapos pasusukahin mo, na-damage yung GIT tract. So iba ang management. Kaya nga usually, first thing na tinitignan, ano yung ininom? Kasi that's how they would manage. Kung acid yung ininom, iba yung papainom sa'yo. Depending nga on whether it's an acid or a base. Because changing pH usually changes the rate of absorption because there's a change in the degree of ionization. Follow? Kaya mahirap ang oral. Ang oral, so sabi nga, it's variable. No? It depends on the pH. Minsan, kumain ka, tapos uminom ka ng gamot. Siyempre, yung kinain mo, nag-change ang pH. So, it can actually change yung rate ng absorption. You follow? Naintindihan po ako about pH and the relationship ng pH to the degree of ionization. Siyempre, ang gusto mo, mas maraming non-ions. Ang mas gusto is mas marami ang non-ions because non-ions, very easy to pass through body membrane because they are both water and fat. Mabilis sila. And they can go in and out, depending on the concentration. Diba? It's always hemostasis, may balance between the two sides of the membrane, and molecules move from one portion to the other portion or to the other side, provided hindi balance. When does diffusion stops, diba? Only if there are there's equilibrium between the two sides of the membrane. Basta hindi sila balance, molecules will come in. And it's usually done or it can be done by non-ionized molecules kasi they go in and out, depending on the concentration. Nakuha niyo ako about the pH. So if you want a drug to be more absorbed, you change pH. If the clinician doesn't want the drug to be absorbed, change the pH because you can change pH and it will change the degree of ionization. It will change the rate of absorption. Okay? Questions? Okay. What is pKa? Now, as I've said, pKa is the characteristic of the drug molecule. It's called the dissociation constant. And pKa, constant siya, no? pKa is the same as the pH value where the drug is 50% ionized. Yun lang ang pKa. If a drug, whether it's an acid or a base, weak acid or a weak base, kung ano yung pKa niya, let's say for example, it's an acid, ang pKa niya is 5. At pH 5, 50% ang degree of ionization. 50% ang rate of absorption. If a drug has a pKa of 6, it simply means that at pH 6, the drug will be 50% ionized. Yung pKa of a drug molecule is the same as the pH value where the drug is 50% ionized. Changing the pH will change the degree of ionization depending on what type of the drug it is. Acid is directly, base is inversely. Questions? Okay. Now, so we have different types of transport. Okay. So, like tayo, di ba? How do you go to school? Do you walk? Do you take tricycle? O social ka, nag-grab ka or you take a car, di ba? We have different ways how we get from one to another place. No? Drug molecules also has different types of transport. And they have two types of transport. It's either passive or specialized. Under passive, you have simple diffusion and filtration. Under specialized transport, you have active, facilitated, and pinocytosis. Okay. What's the difference between a special halo-halo from a regular halo-halo ng Chowking? Pag order ka sa Chowking ng halo-halo, pag sinabi mong special, what's the difference? Hello? Hindi kayo kumakain ng halo-halo sa Chowking? O sa bibingka, pag sinabi mong special yung bibingka, anong meron? Di ba? Mas madaming what? More itlog maalat. So what makes it special? Which makes it different from regular. So when you say it's special, there is something in the special that you do not find in the regular, right? Am I correct? Hello? Hello po?
Yes
Tayo
po.
sumagot. Di ko tuloy alam kung naiintindihan nyo o hindi nyo naiintindihan. Diba, when you say it's special, there is something in the special that we don't see in the regular. Okay? And sa special, what makes the transport special? It's the use of carriers. In specialized transport, it utilizes the large protein molecules which acts as carriers. Sila yung mga bangka para makatransport yung molecules from one end to the other end. So from the area of administration, para pumunta siya sa bloodstream, it has to pass through body membrane. From the bloodstream to the different tissues of the body, it has to pass through body membrane. Kung kinakailangan ng molecules ng carriers because they are ionized, hindi sila makapasok, it's the large protein molecules that acts carriers. And the carriers releases the molecules into the inside of the cell. Okay? Clear tayo doon, no? What is simple diffusion? Diffusion, diba, it's simply the movement of molecule from an area of greater concentration into an area of lesser concentration, passing through a semi-permeable membrane. And the only time diffusion ends kapag there is equal or balance between the two sides of the membrane. Diffusion will continue. So from the site of administration into the tissue, they simply move. The site of administration is an area of greater concentration. The bloodstream is an area of lesser concentration. Molecules can simply diffuse. They simply move from an area of greater concentration into an area of lesser concentration. Simple diffusion. Pag nag-open ka ng perfume, bottle of perfume in a room, magdi-diffuse, di ba? Yung bottle ng perfume mo is an area of greater concentration. The room is an area of lesser concentration. So, magdi-diffuse lang yung perfume throughout the entire room. And the only time it stops is if there is equilibrium between the two sides. Okay? So kung ang bloodstream mo now becomes an area of greater concentration, although hindi, no? So from the area of the bloodstream to the tissue, the bloodstream now, after administration, pumunta na siya sa bloodstream. So the bloodstream now becomes an area of greater concentration. The tissue becomes an area of lesser concentration. What does molecule do? They diffuse from the bloodstream to the tissue. The tissue now becomes, the target tissue now becomes an area of greater concentration. The blood becomes the bloodstream becomes an area of lesser concentration. What does molecules do? They diffuse from an area of greater concentration into an area of lesser concentration. Simple diffusion. They just move. And this is possible because if the molecule is non-ionized, they can simply diffuse because they are both water and fat soluble. Okay? What is filtration? Diba you've heard of glomerular filtration? This is passage of molecules through the pores in the membrane. If you remember yung kidney, diba? Yung kidney, yung bloodstream, going to the kidney, no, the kidney, yung Bowman's capsule, yung glomerulus, this is covered by Bowman's capsule. And one characteristic ng Bowman's capsule is it's very porous. It has so many pores. And sabi sa physio, any molecules which is found in the bloodstream, whether it's ion or non-ions, because the molecules or the Bowman's capsule is highly porous, dadaan siya. It can be actually filtered. Dadaan sa pores in the Bowman's capsule and they can be filtered from the bloodstream into the kidney tubules. Kasi madaming pores. Highly porous daw ang Bowman's capsule. So whether the molecule is ions or non-ions, nasa bloodstream siya, makakadaan siya sa bloodstream. And that is called, the process is called filtration, sinasala. And ang nagsasala, di ba, it's the pores in the membrane. Okay? Clear? Okay. What is specialized transport? No, as I've said, it needs carriers. But what's the difference? When you say active, active requires energy. Kasi, di ba, what's the difference between active and passive? Ang active may force. Di ba, even in appliances, when you say it's active, ina-activate mo yung appliance kasi you need to create a force. Di ba? So, kaya ina-adjust, di ba, ang braces kasi para ma-activate. Pinapalitan ng wire, sometimes tinatighten mo, di ba? So, you need to activate. So, you apply a force. In active transport, it requires energy. Energy is required in active transport because ang movement ng molecule is opposite that of diffusion. In active transport, molecules are moving. Movement ng molecules is from lesser to greater. Baliktad. Diffusion is greater to lesser. In active transport, molecules are moving from lesser to greater. Diba, when you're swimming, kailan mas mahirap mag-swim? Kung sumasabay ka sa agos o you go opposite the agos. Diba? Sabi nga nila, no? To make your life easier, go with the flow. Kasi if you go against the flow, mas mahihirapan ka. In simple diffusion, you go through the flow. Ang movement naman kasi, di ba, from greater to lesser. Mas mahirap yung lesser to greater. That is why it requires energy. So in active transport, it requires energy because the movement ng molecule is from lesser to greater. Okay, clear. In simple diffusion, kaya nga ang tawag sa kanya, simple. Kasi it just move. What is facilitated diffusion? Bakit siya diffusion? Facilitated nga lang. Because the movement of molecule is from greater to lesser. Pareho lang ng simple diffusion. But why is it called facilitated? Kasi it requires carriers. Okay? Nakuha niyo ko? In facilitated diffusion, movement of molecule is from greater to lesser, same as simple diffusion. But it requires carriers. And in cases ng specialized transport, it depends on the available carriers. Kung wala nang bangka, kahit gusto mo pang sumakay, wala ka nang masasakyan eh. Hindi ka na makaka-move. You get me? In simple diffusion, marunong ka naman lumangoy. Keme bangka, kaya walang bangka, marunong kang lumangoy. Very easy for you to jump and move. In the case of facilitated, wala nang protein molecules. Wala nang available carriers. Wala nang passage. It depends on the available molecules. Okay? What is pinocytosis? Pinocytosis is engulfing ng membrane ng molecules. The molecules is engulfed by the body membrane and released in the other side. No? It's called pinocytosis. Sa pato, di ba, you call it phagocytosis? Phagocytes. Sa fisho, it's called pino or pinocytosis. Normal body membrane engulfs the molecule and releases the engulfed molecule in the inside of the cell. The process is called pinocytosis. Clear? May tanong po. Okay. Wala naman? Okay. So, what is absorption? No? So, it depends now on the passage. So, processes, it's whether the process is easy or fast or difficult or slow depends on how the molecules move across body membranes. So, the first, after administration, for a drug to be able to produce an effect, kailangan may absorption. Ha? Pag sasabihin sa iyo ng patient, Dok, hindi siya effective. Anong una mong tanong? Ininom mo ba? Paano naman siya magiging effective kung di mo naman siya iinumin? Di ba? You have to administer the drug. And absorption, it is simply defined as the movement of molecules from the site of administration into the bloodstream. Once the drug is in the bloodstream, na-absorb yung gamot mo. Clear? It is simply the movement of molecules from the site of administration into the bloodstream. The site of administration becomes an area of greater concentration. The bloodstream now becomes an area of lesser concentration. So molecules move from an area of greater to lesser. And that's absorption. Okay? Clear? Questions po? Okay. So, there are several factors affecting absorption. It depends on the physiochemical factors, lipid solubility, degree of ionization, and molecular size and shape. Clear naman yan, di ba? The more lipid soluble, the easier ang passage, the better is the absorption. Kasi mas maraming non-ions. Another is the dosage form. Depende sa dosage form. And the term bioavailability refers to the amount of drug absorbed from a particular dosage form. Different dosage forms have different bioavailability. Makikita niyo yan sa drug literature. Sasabihin siya, solution, mas mataas ang bioavailability than if it comes in capsule form. So this is the amount of drugs absorbed from a particular dosage form. And it will depend, yung absorption depends on the dosage form. You have drug solubility, I think clear, di ba? The more soluble the drug, mas mabilis ang absorption kasi mas soluble siya eh. Insoluble molecules usually finds it difficult. Kasi mas mahirap siyang, parang digestion din, di ba? So, kung mas soluble, mas mabilis ang absorption. It depends on the drug concentration, so the amount of drug that is administered. And sabi nga nila, they say that drugs which are poorly absorbed are usually given in higher concentration. Kasi nga hindi siya masyadong na-absorb. One way of counteracting yung absorption is bigyan mo mas madami ang ibigay mo. The more you give, the more you absorb. Totoo ba yun? Mas maraming knowledge, mas maraming absorption. So one way of counteracting absorption is to give it in more. No, yung concentration, the more drugs that is given, usually mas maganda, mas madami ang na-absorb. And you have blood flow, no? Blood flow, di ba saan mas mabilis ang movement? Yung ma-traffic o walang traffic? Di ba mas matagal ang movement kung ma-traffic? Bakit maganda ang parenteral? Kasi wala ka nang, actually you bypass, in parenteral administration, binabypass yung process ng absorption. Kasi you go directly into the bloodstream. Na-absorb na yan eh. Kaya kung 10 mg ang binigay mo parenteral, 10 mg is absorbed. Kasi diretso na siya sa bloodstream. Unlike if you give 10 mg ng oral, dadaan pa yan sa body membrane. Depende pa yan sa pH. Diba? Nakuha nyo? You get me? Are we clear? Okay. no? So after absorption, so once the drug is inside the bloodstream, nasa bloodstream na siya, no? So the blood carries or transport. It's called transport, not circulate. Blood circulate. Molecules gets transported and distributed. But it's the same process. Pareho lang siya, no? What does drug go? It, di ba, gets circulated into the different tissues. Ang term lang na ginagamit sa drug, it's not called circulation. It's called distribution. They are transported and distributed through the different tissues of the body. No? If absorption is movement from the site of administration to the bloodstream, from the bloodstream to the different tissues of the body is called distribution. This is the mechanism where drug reaches the organs or the tissue. Okay? Questions po? The bloodstream now becomes an area of greater concentration. The tissues are areas of lesser concentration. So molecules move from the bloodstream to the different tissues of the body, and that is called distribution. Tissues can either be target or what we call site of action and non-target tissues. Kasi pag nasa circulation, hindi naman pwedeng dito ka lang, that it's not possible, di ba, that you can direct the flow. Sabihin mo sa flow, sa circulation, dito ka lang kasi ito yung target organ. So once it is in the body, once it is in the circulation, it gets distributed throughout the different tissues. What's the difference between site of action and non-site of action? If a drug goes into that tissue, and this is supposed to be where the drug produces its effect, it's called site of action. Dapat dito siya. But sometimes drug goes into a tissue, but this is not supposed to be where it is. But unfortunately, the drug is capable of affecting the tissue, pero hindi siya yung dapat. No? And it is called the non-target. Pupunta siya doon sa tissue, tapos may effect siya doon sa tissue. No? And the tissue is a non-target tissue. Kaya tayo may side effect. Side effect is the effect of the drug on non-target tissue. Like pag uminom ka ng antihistamine, di ba naantok ka? Hindi mo naman gustong antukin. Pero the fact that the antihistamine goes into the brain, but it is not the tissue that should be affected, but inantok ka. Ano yung antok? Side effect. Kaya meron tayong side effect. It's the effect of the drug in the non-target tissue. Clear? Hello po. Okay tayo? Okay. No? So we have what we call the biologic half-life or the T1/2. Now, why is it called T? Because this is the time necessary to eliminate half the peak quantity of the drug in the circulation. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya, T1/2. Time. Half of the quantity of the drug in the circulation. It's called biologic half-life. Kaya meron tayong, that is why some drugs are given every 4 hours, some drugs are given every 6 hours, some drugs are given once a day lang, because it depends on the T1/2, the biologic half-life. Time necessary to eliminate half the peak. Di ba pag sinabi mong peak, this is the pinakamaganda, yung peak. No? So what is the time time para half na lang yung gamot in the circulation? Kasi na-distribute na excrete na. No? Okay? And there are 4 factors that contribute to the biologic half-life. Kaya may mga iba-iba ang time no? Yung when we give drugs, iba-iba ang time. Kasi meron silang tinatawag na half-life. Okay? So, and there are 4 factors which contribute to the biologic half-life. And one is the plasma protein binding, cellular binding. You have the storage in body fats, and you have the blood-brain barriers. These are the 4 factors that contribute to the unequal distribution of the drug. As I've said kanina, di ba, fats are very good storage. So if a molecule is distributed to the fat molecules, usually fat molecules, nasa-store lang siya sa fat. Kaya mas matagal tayong mag-excrete kasi nga bago siya ma-excrete, naka-store siya eh. So merong may storage, may tinatawag silang storage. That is also why we don't give, drug is not given every hour. Kasi may storage ka pa eh. May binding. Nakukuha niyo ko. Kaya yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na na iinom ka only after, kasi nga, parang mas it's not good. Kasi meron ka pang gamot. And this is actually, kuminsan, di ba, hindi, have you noticed that? You're not drinking the medicine anymore. Pero when you make wee-wee, when you pee, di ba, may iba pa yung kulay ng wee-wee mo. Sometimes you smell differently because you're taking certain medication. Kasi hindi pa naman naaalis lahat yan eh. It will take some time for you really to remove all the drugs kasi may storage. Hello po, okay po tayo? Hello, say yes or no? Baka naman kasi salita
Yes
ako ng salita, hindi nyo naman naiintindihan. Okay, so kaya nga, di ba, what's the difference between male and female? Sabi nga nila, it's something to do with the body fats. Okay? Body fats are very good storage. And matagal daw, matagal binabalik. No, more, it takes longer for drug molecules that are stored in the fat tissue to go back into the circulation. Okay, no? Blood-brain barrier refers to a specialized membrane which found between the blood and the brain. It's more difficult for the brain more difficult to distribute the drug to the brain. Bakit ang local anesthesia hindi ka inaantok sa local anesthesia? Which is different from the general anesthesia. Di ba pag sinatanong ka ng patient, Dok, makakatulog, aantukin ba ako? If it's local, not. Di ba? Why is local anesthesia not nakakaantok? Because it does not get distributed to the brain. Hindi siya padadaanin ng blood-brain barrier. Blood-brain barrier is like a security guard that filter or it's a selective membrane now which allows or disallows certain molecules to pass through. Para siyang yun, security. Di ba mas madaling dumaan sa gate na walang security guard? Kasi hindi ka kailangan hindi mo kailangan ID. Kung may security guard, mas mahirap kasi naghahanap ng ID, proper uniform, etc., etc., kasi may security guard. Blood-brain barrier is like a security guard that protects the brain. So not all molecules that is found in the bloodstream can get distributed to the brain because of the blood-brain barrier. Similarly, yung placenta, no? How is the baby protected from the mother circulation? So hindi lahat ng circulation ng mother or not all drugs or not all chemicals, no, drugs which is found in the mother circulated goes into the baby circulation because of the placenta. The placenta is like a protective membrane that protects the baby from the mother circulation. Same with the blood-brain barrier. These are selective membranes. What is allowed by the blood-brain, ano lang ang pinapapasok ng blood-brain barrier? The molecules has to be highly lipid soluble. Kung hindi lipid soluble ang gamot o yung drug molecule, it will not pass through the blood-brain barrier. Local anesthesia is not lipid soluble. Kaya hindi siya nakakadaan. Unlike general anesthesia. GA kasi they are highly lipid soluble molecules. So very easy to get distributed to the brain. Unlike local anesthesia, peripheral lang. Kaya nga local lang eh. Peripheral lang ang effect niya and they do not get distributed to the brain. Kaya ako palagad kung niloloko yung patient, no? Kahit po galon-galon ng local anesthesia ang inject ko sa inyo, hindi kayo aantukin. Kasi hindi naman siya dinidistribute sa brain. Para ma-distribute sa brain, kailangan lipid soluble yung gamot. And the more lipid soluble, the faster it can go through the blood-brain barrier. Clear? Okay, no? Plasma protein binding and cellular binding is basically the same. Ang difference lang is where the storage. Binding is storage. So if the drug molecule is stored or binds or bound in the plasma sa blood, sino ba ang may plasma? Di ba? It's the blood. Ano ba ang plasma, by the way? What's plasma? Di ba? It's the water part of your blood. Plasma and, ano to? Tawag niya, corpuscles, something. No? So the plasma refers to the liquid portion, di ba, of the, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I remember, the plasma is the liquid part of the blood. No? So if the binding or the storage occurs in the plasma, it's called plasma protein binding. If the drug molecule gets stored or binds in the cellular protein, it's called cellular binding. Ibig sabihin yung pag-plasma sa brain, sa pag-plasma protein binding, sa blood siya na-store. If it's cellular binding, nasan ba ang mga cells? Di ba nasa tissue siya? So, doon siya na-store. But basically, it's the same, no? Once the drug is inside, or once the drug goes into the plasma, may mga proteins, and they are called plasma protein, na nasa plasma. And one characteristic ng mga plasma protein or the cellular protein, they have the ability to get attached to the drug molecule. Dumidikit sila sa drug molecule. Since the plasma protein or the cellular protein cannot leave yung area nila, hindi sila pwedeng, plasma protein don't get distributed. Tissue protein, they stay dun sa area nila. Drugs which are bound o nakadikit sa plasma protein cannot be distributed. Walang mangyayari sa kanila. Stored lang sila. They're stored. Okay? Once it is in the protein, once the molecule is in the plasma or in the tissue, they exist in two forms. Bound and unbound. Free and bound. Bound kapag nakadikit sa plasma protein. Siyempre, pag free or unbound, free. Diba? You look at the picture, no? Saan lang yung arrow? Diba sa free lang? Pag bound ang molecule, they cannot leave because they're bound to the protein molecules. Since protein molecules do not leave the area, hindi rin sila makakaalis. Kaya ang tawag nila sa free form, this is the they call it the functional form. Kailangan maging free yung gamot before it can move. Okay? Binding is reversible to maintain equilibrium. kailangan palaging bound and unbound. Sa body naman, di ba, palagi namang equilibrium, balance. So let's say, for example, ang balance is dapat 90% bound, 10% free. So ano yung 90%? 90% stored, 10% free. What happens to the free form? So, didistribute yan kasi ano sila, pwede kasi free eh. Parang ano din yan, pag may boyfriend, kung may boyfriend ka, limited ang movement mo, di ba? Kasi kailangan mo pang magpaalam, etc. Eh kung free ka. You follow? Restricted kasi, di ba, pag bound ka, rather than if you're free. No? It's the free form is called the biologically active. For a drug to have para gumalaw o makaproduce ng effect, ma-distribute, ma-excrete, it has to be in the free form. But there always equilibrium between the bound and the free. So kunyari nga 10% ang free, 90% ang bound. So the free will get distributed. So the amount of the free form of the drug in the circulation diminishes kasi na-distribute eh. What does the bound form do? They releases 10% para may free. They releases 10% para may free. After an hour, magre-release ng 10%. After an hour, magre-release ng 10%. The only time the drug needs to be administered is kung wala ka ng bound. Parang ano yan eh, para yung deposit sa bangko. Kung ang allowance mo 10,000 a month, what happens to the 10,000 a month? Kulang yon, no? 'Di ba? Nauubos yan eh, 'di ba? So, anong ginagawa nyo? SOS. Need my allowance. So, when is the only time na kailangan, kasi wala ka ng pera eh. 'Di ba? So, kailangan mo nang mag-replenish. So, yung ginagawa ng bound. Eh, kung may pera ka pa, no? Sabi sa iyo I'll give you 100,000 pesos. That is good for one semester. 10,000 lang naman ang budget mo every month. So, 10,000, nagastos mo na. You don't have to ask kasi meron ka pang 90,000. We-withdraw ka na naman ng 10,000. Next month, we-withdraw ka na naman ng 10,000. When is the time you ask for additional? Kapag naubos na yung pera, yung nakastore mo. Right? You follow me? Clear tayo? Hello?
Yes po.
Okay, no? So some drugs do not get stored in the plasma protein. They get stored in the tissue. What causes tetracycline stain? Alam natin ang tetracycline stain, di ba? Why don't we give tetracycline to pregnant women during the second trimester of pregnancy? Kasi they causes tetracycline stain. What causes tetracycline stains? You remember? Sa atin, di ba, we give tetracycline. No? Part yan ng dental. But ang sabi sa atin, you don't give tetracycline to pregnant women during the second trimester of pregnancy kasi magkakakos siya ng intrinsic stain which we call tetracycline stain. Because tetracycline does not get bound to the plasma protein. It gets bound to the tissue protein. Sa tissue. And ang gustong-gusto ng tetracycline, yung tetracycline molecules, dun sa mga tissues which are rapidly growing. Yung at that stage na nagde-develop. And usually, during the second trimester of pregnancy, this is the time that the permanent incisors, the maxillary incisors are developing. Why is it intrinsic? Ba't ang hirap-hirap alisin ng tetracycline stain? Kasi yung stain, yung tetracycline gets incorporated into the development of the enamel of the central incisors. Ang characteristic kasi ng tetracycline, they like developing tissues. And at that time, during the second trimester of pregnancy, this is the time that the central incisors, the permanent central incisors are developing. Kapag binigyan mo ng tetracycline, yung molecules ng tetracycline get stored in the enamel. Sumasama siya, it becomes part of the development of the enamel of the incisors, the permanent incisors. So when the permanent incisors come in, andyan na yung stain. And wala tayong, di ba, the only way we can treat tetracycline is crown. Kasi intrinsic yung stain. Nasa development. And this is because tetracycline likes developing tissue. Sa tissue siya nasustore, hindi sa plasma. So if a drug is known to be stored in the tissue, some drugs are stored in the plasma. But irregardless whether it's tissue or plasma, it's reversible. It's stored can be bound can be stored, and free can be stored. Stored can be free, depending on the equilibrium. Palagi kasing may equilibrium. There's always balance between the two sides. Okay? Questions po? Clear tayo? Are we good? May 15 minutes pa ako. Tapusin na lang natin. Okay? So let's go. So once the drug gets distributed, especially when it goes through the tissue, so it usually produces an effect, no? And most drugs, although there are several mechanisms of drug action, no? Hindi lang naman, actually, di ba, maraming pwedeng possible pharmacodynamics, or there are several mechanisms of action ng gamot. But most drugs require specialized molecules. According to Langley's receptor theory, for a drug molecule to produce an effect, it has to combine with certain specialized molecules which are found in the cells or within the cells, which has an ability to combine with complementary parts of the drug molecule. And these are called receptors. For a drug to produce an effect, it has to combine with receptors. How do you produce heat? Di ba may mga corpuscles? Well, how is the mechanism for, paano nagpo-produce ng hot? Yung nafe-feel mo yung hot. Di ba sa tissue, meron tayong mga receptors? Isa lang naaalala kong receptor eh. Yung Pacini receptor. Ano ba yon? Hot or cold? Di ba kailangan mo ng receptor eh para ma-produce yung effect, di ba? Sa tissue. Sa drug, ganun din. For a drug to produce an effect, no, most drug requires receptors. So, kailangan ng receptors. Like in cases of allergy, how do you produce allergy? Histamine will be released. How does histamine produce an effect? It has to combine with the H receptor. Pag nag-combine ang histamine with the H receptor, it will produce an allergy. Kaya anong tawag nyo sa pang-allergy? Antihistamine, against histamine. Follow? Kailangan mo ng receptors. And most drugs needs receptor to produce an effect. No? Kaya ang tawag nga sa receptor, these are the biologic partners of drug action. For a drug to combine with the receptor, there must be some kind of attraction. Kayo, okay? No? Bakit boys, mali pala, boys, bakit nililigawan mo yung girl? Bakit kayo? Kasi there are certain attraction, di ba? Bakit naman the girl makes sagot to the boy? Because there is some form of attraction, right? So, ganun din ang receptor. For a drug to combine, kung wala kang attraction to a certain person, di ba? Pakialam ko sa'yo. So, for you, no, to there must be some form of attraction. It can be physical, chemical, whatever. No, basta may attraction. And the degree of attraction between receptors and the drug molecule is called affinity. So kung gusto mong medyo social, wag mong sabihin dun sa nililigawan mo, oh, I like you. Ang sasabihin mo, oh, I have affinity for you. Diba? Para social ang dating. Affinity refers to the attraction between the drug and the molecules. Okay? If a drug combines with the receptor, kasi may affinity, and the combination produces an intrinsic activity, may effect. They are called agonists. Agonist refers to drug which has ability to combine with the receptor, and the combination is capable of producing an effect. The drug is called agonist. Histamine is the agonist of the H receptor. Epinephrine is the agonist of the beta receptor. May attraction, and the combination is capable of producing an effect, an intrinsic activity. They are called agonists. And it can be full or partial. Clear naman yan, di ba? Kung ano yung full agonist and partial agonist. Pareho lang naman yan, full and partial, no? So, nasa pangalan naman yan. If a drug has attraction to the receptor, but they are not capable of producing an effect, and the only thing that the drug molecule does is to make it difficult for the agonist. Pahihirapan lang niya yung buhay ng agonist. They are called antagonists. These are drugs which they combine with the receptor because they have affinity, but their combination does not produce any activity. But the only thing that the antagonists do is to prevent the agonist from combining with the same receptor and preventing the agonist from producing the effect. They are called antagonists. Parang sa K-drama yan. Kung may bida, may kontrabida. Ano ba ang dapat, 'di ba? Para ang tawag dito, para happy ending. Yung K-drama. Siyempre kailangan ng magkatuluyan yung bida at yung yung bidang babae at yung bidang lalaki, right? But what does the kontrabida do? 'Di ba? They make it difficult for the bida. They make it difficult. They make the life of the bida more difficult. Yan tawag sa kontrabida, antagonist. And usually, if the drug is classified as antagonist yan. What do you call, if histamine plus the H receptor, histamine is the agonist. Anong tawag nyo sa anti-allergy? Antihistamine. Against histamine. Because histamine produces allergy. If you take antihistamine, it won't produce allergy. And the only thing that the antihistamine do is prevent histamine from combining with the H receptor. Wala siyang effect. The only thing that it does is it prevents histamine from combining with the receptor. You follow? Hello po. Naintindihan ba ako? Pag sinabi mong agonist, may affinity, may activity, may effect. Pag sinabi mong antagonist, and usually if it's pag sinabi yung anti-against, anti-Duterte, ano pang anti-Trump, no? Pro-Trump. Pag sinabi mong anti, it's against. And same, no? Pag the drug is classified as an antagonist, usually it blocks. It's against. Okay? Yun lang naman yung agonist-antagonist. Questions po? And we have two types of antagonists. It can be competitive and non-competitive. Pag sinabi mong competitive, nare-reverse yung effect. Kukombine yung antagonist with the drug molecule, pwede mong i-reverse. Pwedeng ma-dislodge. The antagonist can be dislodged from the receptor by increasing the dose of the agonist. Competitive. Pag non-competitive, usually irreversible yung effect. Even if the dose of the agonist is increased, hindi magdi-detach. More permanent ang effect yung combination ng antagonist with the receptor. It's called non-competitive. Ay, baliktad pala ako, sorry. Pag competitive pala, irreversible. Pag non-competitive, tama pala ako, sorry. Pag sinabing non-competitive, irreversible. Pag competitive, nare-reverse pa. Okay? Okay. So, these are other effects. No? So, there's possible, tapusin ko lang ha, possible mechanism of action ng gamot. No? So, when you say, what is the mechanism? It's how the drug produces its effect. So, it can be through agonist, antagonist. It can either enhance kung agonist siya or blocking if it's antagonist. Like histamine, antihistamine. Agonist, antagonist. It requires receptor. It could either be, it directly increases, decreases cellular functions. Example are stimulants and depressants. They increase, decrease. It could be mechanical, chemical, or physical, no? Like mga antacids, laxative, astringent. Astringent is more of mechanical, laxative is physical, antacid is chemical. It could be replacement, like hormones. Di ba yung mga those who are nagpapa-sex change, nag-hormonal yan eh. So, nire-replace mo yung hormones. Look what happened to Charis Pempenko. Nag-hormonal yan. Para yung mga sex characteristic lumalabas. Diba? Sa hormones naman yan eh. And the other is, it can destroy parasite like your antibiotics. What does antibiotic do? They kill the parasites. That causes the infection. Okay. No? There are certain factors which affects activity. So it can be antagonism. When there's antagonism, there is blocking. So any problem with antagonism? Antagonist? Okay. It can be pharmacologic. Pharmacologic antagonism is between the drug receptor. Binablock ng antagonist yung receptor. It's called pharmacologic. So FNF, tawag dito, histamine, antihistamine is pharmacologic. Binablock ng antihistamine yung histamine sa receptor. Physiologic is it produces opposite effect. Bakit kapag lasing ka o pag inaantok, when you're sleepy, what do you drink? You drink coffee. Kasi when you're sleepy, usually depressed. You need something which gives you a opposite effect. So you take a stimulant. So histamine produces allergy. Antihistamine prevents allergic reaction, but the effect is pharmacologic. Epinephrine is the physiologic antagonist of histamine. Antihistamine is the pharmacologic antagonist of histamine. Kaiba sila. Iba ang mechanism. Pag physiologic, you produce opposite effect. Okay? It could be chemical antagonism. Chemical, no? Remember, drugs are either acid or based. So, if a drug is an acid, a weak acid, you want to antagonize the effect of the weak acid is antagonized, binibigyan siya ng strong base para neutral yung salt. Diba, if you add an acid with a base, you produce a salt. And salt is usually inactive. Chemical. Heparin is an acid, protamine is a base. So, chemical siya. Questions po? Okay po. And then you have additive effects. Additive is 1 plus 1. Simple addition. 500 milligrams of mefenamic acid plus 400 milligrams of ibuprofen. Ang effect mo is either 1,000 milligrams of mefenamic or ibuprofen. 1 plus 1 lang siya, additive. By the way, if you combine, please remember, no? If you combine drugs of different nature, usually it produces antagonism. Antagonist siya. Kung pag yung patients, no, na yung addict ng shabu, ang binibigay sa kasi shabu is a stimulant, ang binibigay dyan depressant. If you're depressed, ang binibigay sa'yo antidepressant. Opposite. Kaya nga anti. So if you give drugs of different nature, if drugs are combined and they belong to different nature, antagonism yan. If drugs are combined and if they are the same, they have the same nature, it's usually additive. If you give a CNS stimulant with another CNS stimulant, it produces 1 plus 1, nagiging 2. Additive lang siya. What is potentiation? Potentiation is increase. 1 milligram of drug A plus 1 milligram of drug B. Ang mapuproduce mo is 10 milligrams of drug A. That's potentiation. And if you combine drugs of the same nature, it can either be additive or potentiation. Bakit ang daming namamatay sa bathtub? Madaming nalulunod sa bathtub. You know, Whitney Houston, si Whitney Houston died in the bathtub. Ano siya ng accidental drowning. Si Michael Jackson. Anong kinamatay ni Michael Jackson? Tingin niyo ba gustong mamatay ni Michael Jackson? At the peak of his career? Karoon siya ng potentiation kasi dami-dami niyang iniinom, yung cocktails, sinatawag nilang cocktails. And most of these are CNS depressants. Iinom siya ng ganito, and it combine. And the effect becomes more than what is expected. Di ba yung red wine, tapos, what's sabi nila, I'm not sure, pero sabi nila, si Whitney Houston, paano siya namatay kasi depressed si Whitney Houston eh. So, minom siya ng sleeping pills. Tapos, kinumbine niya with red wine. Red wine is a depressant. Sleeping pills is a depressant. Hot water. No, di ba yung sa bathtub? Tapos jacuzzi, di ba? Very relaxing. It's a depressant. Sumobra. Potentiation. So, be careful of giving. Kaya nga, very important that you ask for the drug history of the patient. Especially for elder people. Because usually, mga elder people, ang dami-daming gamot na iniinom niyan. Nakuha niyo ko. Kasi baka mamaya, hindi mo alam. No? Napopotentiate na pala ng gamot. So there is yun yung mahirap with drug combination. And if you combine drugs, you should know ano yung kino-combine nyo. Kasi it might develop into antagonism or potentiation, no? Okay lang kasi kung additive, kasi simple addition. Ang problema is if it could be potentiation. And very, very thin line yung difference between potentiation and additive. Hindi mo alam kung kailan siya additive, kailan siya potentiation. Okay? Yung mga patients na nagtitake ng ng high blood pressure, usually depressant yan eh. Meron siyang CNS depressant. Mga pang high blood, no? So, be careful in giving drugs kasi nga baka ma-potentiate. Okay? Accumulation comes from the word accumulate. Ibig sabihin lang ng accumulation, dagdag ng dagdag. Like, di ba, sabi nga na, as I've said, merong storage. Nagbigay ka ng 500, 250 excreted, 250 stored. Magbigay ka ng second dose, 500, same drug, 500, 250 natanggal, na-excrete, 250 stored. So what is stored in your system is not 250 anymore, it's 500. Give ka ng 250, third dose, 750 na yung storage mo. Kung 1,000 toxic dose. So you gave the same medicine, same gamot, same dosage, but the effect is different. Kasi na-accumulate. That's accumulation. Certain drugs has a tendency to get accumulated. Kaya usually, yung mga gamot na ganito, that is known to get cumulative effect, pinapalitan mo lang yung nawala. If the biologic of life is, let's say, 500 milligrams, no? To become effective 500 milligrams. And it's known to, natatanggal yung 250. So, nasusstore lang yung 250. Papalitan mo na lang 250. Para lang ma-maintain yung peak quantity. Kasi nga, may storage ka pa. Kaya masama yung you don't follow the recommended dose. Okay? Questions po? What is tolerance and tachyphylaxis? Diba, when you say tolerance, it's the ability of the drug or the body not to be affected by the drug. Kapag wala nang effect, kasi you're so used to taking the drug, wala na siyang effect. Yun yung problem with addicting drugs. Yun yung napapansin kasi nagiging tolerant kayo eh. Even in alcohol, now when you started drinking, how many bottles bago kayo malasing? Yeah? 1 or 2 bottles lang, lasing ka na. Now, every day, you take 1 or 2 bottles of beer. Tapos sasabihin sa'yo, pampatulog lang. Just to make me sleep. And you develop tolerance. Yung 2 bottles is not enough. Becomes 3. It becomes 4. And that is called tolerance. Usually, tolerance develop long-term. If tolerance develop over a short period of time, it's called tachyphylaxis. Okay? Kaya kung you've been taking the same medication for so long, reversible naman siya eh. Stop for a while. Or change the medication. Lalo pag sinabi sa iyo ng patient, wala nang effect sa akin yan eh. Change for a while. So, bumabalik naman yan after a while. Okay? If tolerance develop over a short period of time, it's called tachyphylaxis. And the last factor which affects drug activity is variation in drug response. And bottom line is, if the patient responds less, give more. If the patient responds more, give less. And sabi nga natin, di ba? Young people, elderly people, patients who are malnourished, no, usually may mga problems physically, usually they become more sensitive to the effect of the drug. Okay? Okay, I'll finish this later. Sige, it's already past 12. So, questions po. So, if you have questions, wait lang. Kamalian. May tanong po. If you have questions,